How you doing? How you been? What's going on? What's good? How you getting it in? Everybody getting it funny. What's going on, people? What's going on, people? It is the day of another day. Of another day that we call Monday. And it would have been said, what's going on, people? Hope everybody's doing everything as far as being prosperous in life and still knocking down doors as far as the life and living. Now, I want to talk to you about something in case you don't know about this, but I'm going to bring it to your attention, in reference to Donald Trump. Now, he is the elected president, and of course he's going into office as of 2017. Now, the thing about it, I don't think anybody really think about is the vice president. Now, they're not really putting too much topic on him because everybody's kind of outraged with Donald Trump and everything that he's, his standards and his Mexican and his borders and his Muslim stuff like that. Now, the vice president that's appointed by him, his name is Mike Pence. Now, I'm giving you an idea who he is so you can actually see who he is. He's very much anti-LGBT. Now, here's a woman by the name of Rachel Maddow from MSNBC on November the 13th. She put this out. Check this out.
Your marriage is till death do you part. You should be more worried and superstitious about that kind of thing when you're just starting the process. Don't start it off by lying. That's just common superstitious sense. In Indiana, it's also a very stern part of the law. I don't know what happened in Indiana in the late 1990s to make them worry so much about people lying on their marriage licenses, but they did. And in 1997, Indiana passed a law against that. And then it's interesting because about 15 years down the road in Indiana, that law about lying on your application for a marriage license, that law became kind of a big hairy deal. Because in the era of people fighting for the right to get married, even if they are a same-sex couple, one of the pressure tactics that some people and some groups developed was this very simple, often emotional, often even a little heart-wrenching strategy where a same-sex couple would go down to their local clerk's office and apply for a marriage license just like anybody else. And the clerk would turn them down to their face. The Campaign for Southern Equality did this all over the South. In particular, they would videotape while they did it, while the clerks had to look people in the eyes and tell them no. It was very moving. And couples started doing this strategy all over the country. It's a very simple thing. They just go to your county clerk's office to apply to get married, and the clerk could not say yes. The clerk would have to look you in the eyes and say no because it wasn't legal. But in Indiana, they had this law on the books about it being, weirdly, a felony to give false information on your application for a marriage license. And that became an interesting wrinkle in that whole civil rights tactic. In that whole strategy toward trying to pursue civil rights this way. The application for a marriage license in Indiana only allows you to fill in one name for man and one name for woman. So if you were a same-sex couple filling out that application, there's no way for you to do that truthfully, right? If you're two women or you're two men, you can't truthfully apply on this form, which only allows space for a man and a woman. That's the only way to apply. You cannot truthfully do it. And in 2013, Governor Mike Pence signed an update of the enforcement of the marriage application law in his state, so that if you violated that law, you'd be guilty of a level 6 felony, which is punishable by a maximum of 18 months in prison and a potential fine of up to $10,000. So, right, ultimately marriage equality becomes the law of the land everywhere, thanks to the Supreme Court. But in Indiana, under Governor Mike Pence, gay couples faced 18 months in prison and $10,000 fine for applying to get married. So a year and a half in prison, $10,000 fine for the crime of applying for a marriage license. That, of course, is before that application would then be turned down, right? Just applying to get married would put you in jail under Mike Pence. One of the things that happened during the 2 terms of the Obama administration is that it became the law of the land in every state in the country that you can get married if you want to, and even if you and your partner are 2 men or you're 2 women. Marriage equality is the law of the land, and this was the culmination of a massive decades-long civil rights fight. Over the course of his own presidency, even President Obama himself evolved on this issue. At the time he became president, he said that he supported mostly equal rights for same-sex couples, but at the time he became president, he did not support marriage equality itself. That said, he evolved. By the time that fight was fully engaged coast to coast and it seemed possible that marriage equality might win, President Obama had changed his mind and become fully supportive on the issue. And when the United States Supreme Court finally ruled 3 summers ago in that landmark case that settled the issue legally once and for all, by then the Barack Obama White House was lit up for the night in the colors of the rainbow flag. This has just been a massive civil rights achievement. It was the resolution of a major battle and an incredibly acrimonious, long, ongoing culture war. And in that context, given that that's what just happened, the next time we had a presidential election, after these consequential 2 terms of Barack Obama, you'd think we'd fight about that, right? I mean, you'd think in the abstract that gigantic change we went through during the Obama administration, that'd be a key part of the debate that we have as a country about who the next president should be. And when the Republican Party picked as their nominee this year Donald Trump, a man who has honestly kind of a confusing, incoherent position on a lot of culture war issues, including gay rights, you would think it would have been really huge news. You think it would have been an acute point of focus in this campaign when the Republican presidential nominee, who has this strange, sort of hard to follow, internally contradictory set of policies on these issues, he picked as his running mate the most vociferously and consistently anti-gay statewide elected official in the country. There is no statewide elected official anywhere in America who has more to brag about in terms of his anti-gay credentials. I mean, yeah, lots of Republican politicians were against marriage equality, but only in Mike Pence's Indiana could you go to jail for the crime of being a gay couple that had the temerity to apply for a marriage license. Before North Carolina ever stepped on a rake and humiliated itself and threw away its business reputation and its New South reputation with this ridiculous anti-trans bathroom bill, before that ever happened in North Carolina, Mike Pence in Indiana signed a law overtly making it okay to discriminate against gay people in his state. I mean, Mike Pence is the one who said we should not only take away money from HIV and AIDS programs, he said AIDS funding should be taken away from serving people with HIV and AIDS because instead it should be diverted into government-funded programs designed to cure people from being gay, to try to fix gay people. That's what the government should spend its money on, not this AIDS stuff. Mike Pence is really, really out there on his anti-gay politics. He's at the very edge of the branch, on the very edge of the twig, on the end of the branch, on the last leaf on that twig. I mean, more so than any other statewide elected official in the country. And that's who Donald Trump picked to be his running mate. And you'd think, regardless of what you think about gay rights, regardless of whether you think about marriage equality and all the rest of it, that's just politically interesting, right? You think that would just be a point of interest in this campaign. It would have sparked some debate and discussion. You'd think it would have gotten at least some attention. But in fact, no one paid much attention to it at all. And honestly, I think that's because no one paid much attention to Mike Pence at all. And I think part of that is because he's running with this incredibly flamboyant guy at the top of the ticket. But I think there's also another really specific reason for that. And it's because none of us ever got a second chance. None of us ever get a second chance to make a first impression. But as a vice presidential nominee and as a national political figure for the first time in his life, Mike Pence never even got a single chance to make a first impression. Because the night that Mike Pence was chosen to be Donald Trump's running mate, there was other stuff going on that frankly was way more interesting and way more dramatic. And it resulted in Mike Pence never even getting a single day of focused press attention, even on the day he was named to the Republican ticket.
Tonight, several breaking stories as we come on the air. A military coup attempt at a major American ally. Turkey in chaos. Tanks in the streets. Fighter jets in the skies. And second thoughts? Donald Trump makes it official, announcing Mike Pence as his VP pick. But NBC News has learned he was working the phones till midnight, trying to see if he could change course.
Poor Mike Pence. He was announced from the very beginning as a guy about whom Donald Trump instantly had buyer's remorse. And he was announced as VP on a day when something else really important and urgent happened. When this big important country, this ally of ours in the Middle East, had what appeared to be a very dramatic major coup attempt.
It started off small. Troops seen closing off a main bridge in Istanbul. Then it escalated fast as reports came pouring in of army soldiers taking command of government buildings, a presidential office, and TV stations. The prime minister announced that a coup was underway. He vowed to resist, saying Turkey's democratically elected government would fight to the last drop of blood against the, quote, criminals. This is the man the coup was directed against, President Tayyip Erdogan, in southern Turkey on vacation at the time. His fight with the military has been a long time coming. He's had secular army officers arrested for years, ushered in Islamist politics, and is trying to change the constitution to give himself more power. Late tonight, Erdogan, speaking from an undisclosed location via FaceTime, called on his supporters to take to the streets to defend him.
This is a dramatic occurrence for any country, right? Anywhere in the world. For us, though, in the United States, this was a particularly big deal. Right, this was a particularly big deal, even overshadowing the selection of Mike Pence as the Republican vice presidential nominee.
Okay, you see that? So basically, she's letting you know about, the different things as far as who he is and what he stands by. And, he's very much against LGBT, and he feels like, gay people can be reformed and stuff like that. And, a felony. To even go to the office to even apply for a marriage license is a felony. And the thing about it is that I want to bring it to your attention and stuff, because maybe you don't know about this, and you're focusing on Trump, you're not even focusing on this vice president. Now, people may say, like I said before, we really don't know exactly what's going to happen once he takes into office, but basically, everything is really moving behind the scenes like it did before. And then I was on my Facebook page, and someone said that, we can debate about the Donald president, and you will not be blocked. And I feel as though it's very petty for anyone to block someone in reference to their views as far as Donald Trump and Hillary. Now, I understand that we are very much split down the middle within us both and stuff, and this is fair, within your right. I have no problem with that. But I do have a problem with someone saying that that they feel as though it's petty to block someone. Now, if you don't walk in that light as far as what's going on with the LGBT, I don't feel as though a lot of times people don't understand that who they have signed on their friend list. Now, as of October the 10th, or should I say May 2015, there was a trans kid, 14 years old. His name was Tyler Prescott. Now, in case you remember this, I did a video of him October the 10th. Now, Tyler Prescott was from San Diego and stuff like that. And he was a trans kid and stuff like that. The parents was very supportive as far as helping him with his transition. Got his new name, gender change, everything that was going to work within the favor and stuff like that. Now, I did a video about him, so you can kind of go back and check into it if you want. And I did it October the 10th and stuff. Now, his mother name is Catherine. Now, let me tell you something about kids. And this is the reason why I block people off my page. Let me tell you something about kids, in case you don't know. We have a black, brown, white, Asian, Korean, Spanish, Dominican, every race. There's every race, every race. When it comes down to LGBT, there's every race. There's no such thing as a single race, there's every race. When you are a parent of a trans child, let me tell you what they do, in case you don't remember or don't know, or hopefully you'll care, but probably if you don't, it is what it is. a trans kid or teen will go, and even adults will go into the room like Kyler did. Like Kyler did. He had the support of a parent. But the world got to him and he committed suicide. So now he killed himself. His mother is suing the hospital because they kept referring to him as her. They didn't basically stood behind what she had said when she sent her child to the hospital, the children's hospital in San Diego and stuff. And this is the thing what I'm saying, you know, you're saying it's very petty. It's not petty. When you are in someone's head, sometimes we can't win to get them out. Now this child had a parent that was supportive, but society won. It didn't matter how much the mother stood there by her son. It didn't matter how much she stood there and let him know that she was there with him. He killed himself. So it's not petty when we get upset, when we watch how people sit up there and go against who we are and fight for things that we finally get to. Let me tell you something. Just imagine how wonderful this whole election of president would have been if he went the opposite way. If he embraced the Mexicans, and he embraced the LGBT, and he embraced the Muslims, and he embraced people and tried to fix things as far as working together to kind of get past all this bigotry and racism and stuff like that. Just imagine how much positive we would be as far as growing. This world is not yours or anyone else's. This is ours. We're all not going anywhere. So we need to work together as one. I'm not saying sing kumbaya. We can learn to appreciate everybody and let them stand in their truth as who they want to be as far as that. Now to sit up there and say that it's very petty because you're fighting for it, you can't go to this mother and tell this mother, well, it's very petty for you to be upset that someone was bullying and saying mean things about the people, and her child is dead. You can't say I'm sorry. You cannot say I'm sorry to a person who child committed suicide. I'm sorry, just don't cut it. I'm sorry, just don't cut it when you put in the clothes away, you look at the baby clothes, you look at the room and stuff like that. This child has committed suicide. This mother is waiting for her child to walk through that door. That child's never going to walk through that door. So what you're going to say is very petty for you to sit back and go against someone who has their different views and stuff like that, and you just sit them in front of someone's page and tell them you're sorry? I'm sorry, just don't work. I'm sorry, just don't work. So what do you do? What do you do? What do you tell Catherine after her child has committed suicide? Oh, it's just very petty for y'all to be upset and stuff. It's debatable as far as, you know, the president. No, it's not. Because we can, and the thing about it is that you don't understand, if this man represented love, why is the Ku Klux Klan so happy that it's there? It lets you see who he hollered at and who represented what he represented. Everything is showing for itself what it actually meant as far as what he stepped into that title. If you can unite the Ku Klux Klan to make them feel empowered and stuff like that, and now the races are being attacked and stuff like that, it showed you who stood with him. He stood with hate, and the hate group stood up with him as well. Anyway, that being said, I would love to hear you feel about this. You know, did you know about this as far as the running mate Mike Pence? As you saw, they threw you off with different things, so you wouldn't really think about who it was that was standing next to him. They gave you diversity and stuff like that, put different things up and threw you off. Anyway, the man said, but reality is that you need to keep your eye open on this man. This man is close to Donald Trump, and he's going to be in his ear. I just want to give you full thought of that. That's something to think about. Anyway, that being said, I just want to let you know I love you, and I would love to hear you about this. And I want to thank you for watching. Catch the rain.